Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is our fourth video on Galatians. I believe it's our fourth video. But anyways, we left off the last time in Galatians 2, I believe, verse at the very end. We were already, let me just go through Galatians 2, verse 20. Let me finish off the chapter. I know we did it before, but I like to go over it one more time. Okay, so let's go ahead and go there. Galatians 2, chapter 20. It says, I have been impelled with Mashiach, and no longer live, but Mashiach lives in me. And that which I now live in the flesh, I live by belief in the Son of Elohim, who loved me and gave himself for me. I do not set aside the favor of Elohim, for if righteousness is through the Torah, then Mashiach died for naught. Now let's remember back in the first video when we first started. Remember we read through the Torah about the feast and about the right ruling of Elohim, and here's what that means there. Let's go over that one more time. It says, I do not set aside the favor of Elohim. What is the favor of Elohim? To provide a besah, to provide a lamb, a sacrificial lamb, to provide atonement for his people. This is the favor of Elohim. For if righteousness is through the Torah, if we were made righteous by the Torah, then the Mashiach died for nothing, because then all we had to do was keep the Torah. But me being an Israelite, I know for a fact that the Torah does not save a man. This is what Shaul says. He tells Kepa, you and me being Yahudim, we know that the Torah does not save a man. It is the belief, okay? Because you can have the Torah, but you are not able to perform the Torah because for the lack of having the spirit of Yah living inside of you. Now Yahushua said, I go so that my Father and I may come and dwell in you. Okay? So all of those who believe in him, his spirit is coming to dwell in us. He is giving us the comforter, the Ruach HaKadosh, the Ruach that comes from the living Elohim. Okay? This is what we are receiving. So through Yahushua HaMashiach, through the belief in Yahushua HaMashiach comes, through the belief in him comes being made righteousness. Because now that we have the spirit of Yahuwah, now we can perform the Torah. Okay? Before we could not perform the Torah because we were not able to, because we were flesh and blood, and because we kept falling in our sin, so we were not able to uphold the Torah and become righteous through the Torah. But the Mashiach came through the Torah. It was spoken of. He was spoken of before that he would come, and that he would. That Moshe said, there is a prophet like me that's going to come, and everything that he says, you will do it. You will do what he says. Okay? So then, so then, now that prophet, that Nabi that has come is Yahushua HaMashiach, who is the Mashiach, the anointed one of Yahuwah. Okay? This is who he was speaking of. And Yahushua said, no one goes to the Father except for through me. This is why it says here, I have been impaled with Mashiach and no longer live, but Mashiach lives in me. Mashiach, so he wasn't making this up. This is not a fairy tale. That he's saying, when I leave, me and my Father, I must go so that we may come and dwell in you. That we become the Mikdash of Elohim. So then we are a living sacrifice, because we are now living for Mashiach. We're living obedient to Yahuwah by the blood of Mashiach that has become our atonement, our Passover. It says, I have been impaled with Mashiach, and I no longer live. It is not my flesh that lives no more, but Mashiach that lives inside of me. And that which I now live in the flesh, I live by belief in the Son of Elohim. This is why our whole lives changed. Who loved me and gave himself for me. I do not set aside the favor of Elohim, the belief. For if righteousness is through the Torah, then Mashiach died for naught. But we know that he didn't die for naught. Now, let me explain something to you. Okay, Shaul went to Galatia to speak to these people. Okay, and in the next chapter, immediately, we are going to find out that these people had a form, they had the Ruach HaKadosh. Okay, now how did they have the Ruach HaKadosh? They had the Ruach HaKadosh because they were Israelites who had been kicked out of the land, and they were now living in Galatia, which is today's Turkey. They were now living there, and they would go down to the feast. Okay, now if you know the Torah, you know that it's appointed for all Israelite men to do 3 feasts, mandatory. The Pesach, to go down during the Pesach, to go down to Yerushalayim to honor Yahuwah during Pesach, during Shavuot, and during the time of atonement. Okay, so these are all the major feasts. These are the major feasts, all 3 of these. So then these people had gone down to Yerushalayim for Shavuot, and let's go into chapter 3 so that we can read this. It says, "O senseless Galatians, who has put you under a spell, not to obey the truth?" What is the truth? What is the truth? "Before whose eyes Yahushua Mashiach clearly portrayed among you as impelled." Okay, the truth is that in order for you to enter the kingdom of Shamayim, you must enter through the Mashiach. Atonement must be made for you, because you cannot enter in the filthy condition that we are in all of our sin. We're talking about a Kadosh Elohim here. We're not talking about an Elohim who sins every once in a while or turns a blind eye to it. No, he doesn't. Okay, so he is God. The whole Shamayim falls and worships him and says, "Kadosh, Kadosh, 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 are you Elohim?" So then we are as filthy rags in his sight. So then we must receive the spirit of or the Ruach of Yah to come and live inside of us, for us to be acceptable. Okay, so that we can even dwell in his presence. How can we even dwell in his presence, even having the filthy minds that we have? I mean, we couldn't even be able to dwell in his presence. We wouldn't last an hour with him. We wouldn't last some of us, maybe even 5 minutes. Okay? So, anyways, let's keep on reading. It says, "Before whose eyes Yahushua Mashiach was clearly portrayed among you as impelled, as being our sacrificial lamb. This only I wish to learn from you. He says, tell me this. This is what he's telling he said, tell me this one thing. All I want to know is one thing. What was it that he wanted to know? Did you receive the Ruach, the Spirit, by the works of the Torah, or by the belief, or by the hearing of belief? A belief in who? In Yahushua HaMashiach. Did you receive the Spirit of not the right ruling? Not the right ruling. Okay? So it didn't say, nowhere here does it say to do away with the Torah. It never says, well, we don't need the Torah no more. It never says that. It says, this only I wish to learn from you. Did you receive the Spirit, the Ruach of Yah, by the works of the Torah? No. Or by the hearing of the belief. By hearing and believing that Yahushua was our atonement, our sacrificial lamb, that he became, and that through his acceptable sacrifice to the Father, that he became our atonement. That through him, we were able to pass from this life, from this present age, from this present wicked, evil age, into his kingdom. Okay, so now let's go back to the very beginning. In chapter 1, what does it say? It says, favor to you and shalom from Elohim the Father, and our Master Yahushua Mashiach. This is in verse number 4 now. Who gave himself for our sins to deliver us out of this present wicked age, according to the desire of who? Who desired to deliver us? Yahuwah, the Father, according to the desire of our Father, of our Elohim and our Father, to whom be praised forever and ever. To the Father, so the Father may be praised, so that we may dwell with him, and that he may be praised forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, the Father has provided a way of escape for us, just as the way that he provided a way of escape for the ancient nation of Israel when they left Mitzrayim, out of their bondage. So we are able to come out of our bondage and no longer be slaves to sin, so that we may be acceptable to Yahuwah. Okay, and that's what this is saying. This is by no means saying to get rid of the Torah in any way, shape, or form. But we must know the Torah in order to know that that's what this is saying. And all of those, the word says, and I didn't say this, the word says it right here. All of those who preach something else, that come with a different Besorah, may they be accursed. You're cursing yourself. So all of those men that are out there on the TV going, oh, the J-Man loves you. Oh, yes. Oh, the J-Man. And making up all this. Just send me some money because he loves you. This is, send me a X amount of money. It's, just sow your seed here. They don't care about the people. They are wolves in sheep's clothing, leading the people astray. They do not enter, neither do they let the people enter. It says, let's keep going. This only I wish to learn from you. Did you receive the Spirit by the works of Torah, or by the hearing of belief? You are so senseless. Having begun in the Spirit, do you now end in the flesh? Let's go back. I'm wondering if you recognize, if you see what I just saw right there. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's read that one more time. Now remember, this is a people who are in Galatia. They're not in Jerusalem. Okay? It says right here, this only I wish to learn from you. Did you receive the Spirit by the works of Torah? So these people, apparently, they already received the Ruach HaKadosh. They have the Spirit of Elohim. He just said it. He just said, did you receive the Spirit by the works of Torah? So these are men who are, how did they do that? How did they receive the Spirit already by the works of the Torah? he's asking them, did you receive the Spirit by the works of the Torah or by the hearing of belief? They received it by hearing and believing in Yahushua HaMashiach as their atonement. But they already received the Spirit. How come they had already received the Spirit? Because they had been down to Yerushalayim during the feast of Shavuot and have received the Ruach HaKadosh. Now let's go to Maaseh, which is Acts chapter 2. And let's read right there. Chapter 2, the very first verse. And when the day of the festival of Shavuot had come, they were all with one mind in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from the Shamayim as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. Okay, everybody who's listening to the sound of my voice, I'm sure knows this whole chapter. We have read this over and over and over as being in the Christian community, and now as being believers in Yahuwah and in the Son of Yahushua HaMashiach. We have all read this over and over. So we know what's happening here. Okay? So I'm not going to continue to read that chapter. But we know that these people are not they're sojourners, but we know that they know something about the Torah, because the word in Exodus says that a native cannot a one who is not in covenant with Yahuwah cannot partake of the Pesach, cannot partake of this. So us knowing this, then we know that these people had already received the Ruach. They knew the Torah, and they had been doing the festivals. So because they were doing the festivals and they knew the Torah, then they were vessels who could receive the Ruach HaKadosh. So then they were vessels that could receive the Ruach HaKadosh. They were not people who were ignorant and as we were at one time, and did not know about the mitzvot, and did not know about the feast of Elohim. These people knew. Okay, so anyways, let's keep on reading. Now you remember when we first started Galatians that we went and we read the Torah. Okay, and that's why I took you there to read the Torah, so that you could see about the grafting in, about what Yah is. A Yah, he's not a Yah of disorder. He's not a Yah of where there's no order at all. There is this protocol. There's a certain order that you have to go through. Okay, and he's not the author of confusion. So these people here had received the Ruach HaKadosh because they have been practicing the feast. Okay, so Shaul said, now the Torah, the righteousness, the Spirit, the Ruach HaKadosh, did that come through the Torah, or did it come through the belief in Yahushua HaMashiach? Because all those people in the upper room believed in the Son of Yahuwah, and they received the Ruach HaKadosh for it. So he said, which one did it come through? And it came through the belief in Yahushua Mashiach. This is how they became vessels that Yah could fill with his Ruach, because they were doing the mitzvot of Elohim. Okay? It says, this only I wish to learn from you. Did you receive the Spirit by the works of Torah, or by the hearing of belief? Are you so senseless, having begun in the Ruach, in the Spirit? You begun your journey to know him, and now you're going to end in the flesh? It said, why? How come they're going to end in the flesh? Because these people are trying to take them away from doing they're trying to circumcise, for them to be circumcised, and and all different kinds of stuff. So he's saying, and some of them are agreeing. He says over there that Barnabas was one of them who may have been carried away. They stopped eating. Oh, don't eat with the Gentiles. Don't eat with the goyim, with the nations. You separate yourself over here, and now they're doing the Torah, the mitzvot of the flesh, instead of the Torah of Elohim. Okay, so this is the mindset. Now let's go. I want to take you one more place real quick, and before we keep on in Galatians, just really quick, I wanted to take you to chapter 15 of Maaseh, to chapter 15 of Acts. Okay, verse 1. I'm going to start reading there. It says, "And certain men came down from Yehuda and were teaching the brothers, unless you are circumcised according to the practice of Moshe, you are unable to be saved." Okay? It says, so when Shaul and Barnabas had no small dissension and dispute with them, in other words, they were arguing with them, they arranged for Shaul and Barnabas and certain others of them to go up to Jerusalem to the emissaries and elders about this question. So being sent on their way by the assembly, they passed through Phoenicia, Shomeron, relating the conversion of the nations, and they were causing great joy to all the brothers. And having arrived in Jerusalem, they were received by the assembly and the emissaries and the elders, and they were reported, and they reported all that Elohim had done with them. And some of the believers who belonged to the sect of the Pharisees rose up, saying, "It is necessary to circumcise them and to command them to keep the Torah of Moshe." Okay, now the contention here now is just because it says that it's necessary for them to keep the Torah of Moshe, which is good to keep the Torah of Moshe, but the circumcision is of the heart. It's spiritual. Okay, so they want now the men are believing that because they've come into the name and that they need to be circumcised. Okay, so now they're going back. So now let's go back to Galatians chapter 3, verse number 3. It says, "Are you so senseless, having begun in the Ruah, in the spirit? Do you now end in the flesh?" Okay, that's what he's talking about. Have you suffered so much in vain, if indeed in vain? Because what have you suffered? Temptation. But you're able to overcome because you have the Ruach HaKadosh. Okay, but now you're going to throw all that away and go and circumcise yourself in the flesh? But you were brought into the spirit. Belief comes through the spirit of Elohim. Okay, and performing the Torah and doing it comes through the spirit of Yahushua, through the spirit that is given by the belief in Yahushua HaMashiach. Because you can read the Torah all you want to and know every single mitzvot and practice every single feast, but you are unable to keep the Torah unless you have the spirit of Yah living inside of you. So let's keep on going. It says, verse 5, "Is he then who is supplying the spirit to you and working miracles among you, doing it by the works of the Torah or by the hearing of belief? Even so, Abraham did believe in Elohim, and it was reckoned unto him as righteousness. Know then that those who are of the belief are sons of Abraham, and the scripture having foreseen that Elohim would declare right the nations by belief, announced the Tov news, the Besora, which the Christians have corrupted as the Gashpel, as the God spell on you. That's not what it is. It's the Besora of Elohim. To Abraham for him. He gave the Besora, the good news, to Abraham way before the Germanic tribes ever even spoke today's German. Okay, So there was no such word as the gospel. There was no such word at all. Okay, so that's not. You can just throw that King James Bible in the trash and get you a real one. All the nations shall be Baruch in you, so that those who are of the belief are Baruch with Abraham the believer. Okay, remember Abraham was a goyim. He was out of covenant. Okay, and because of his belief in Yah, Yah made a pact with him. Yah made a covenant with him. Okay, because he believed in him. He counted his belief as righteousness. Okay, so now it says, so that those who are of the belief are Baruch with Abraham the believer. For as many as are of works of Torah are under the curse. Okay, under the curse of what? What does that mean? For as many as are of works of the Torah are under the curse. Does that mean that the Torah is a curse? No, that doesn't mean. But the Torah has the berekah and it has the curses. What the Christians call the blessings, and it has the curses. So what if you don't live by the Torah? Then this is what's going to happen to you, the curses. Okay, and so the curse is that if you don't live by the Torah and you sin in the presence of Yahuwah, that brings death. Okay, so you are no longer under the Torah of the curse of death. It says, for as many as are of the works of the Torah are under the curse, for it has been written, cursed is anyone who does not continue. Listen to it doesn't say cursed is anyone who continues. It says cursed is anyone who does not continue in all that has been written in the book of the Torah to do them. Not to believe in them, not just to believe in them, not just to have faith in them, but to do them. And that no one is declared righteous by the Torah before Elohim is clear, for the righteous shall live by belief. Okay? And the Torah is not of belief, but the man who does them shall live by them. What does that mean? It means that the Torah, that the Torah, if you don't have the belief and you don't have the spirit of Yahushua HaMashiach, you cannot perform it. Mashiach redeemed us from the curse of the Torah, having become a curse for us. It has been written, cursed is everyone who hangs upon a tree. Okay, first of all, I want to ask you something. Just really quick. Verse number 13. How can you be redeemed if you've never? How can I say, okay, I'm gonna go and redeem my wife and bring her back to me if we had never been married before? Okay, how can you redeem something that you've never had? If you've never been part of the house of Israel, how can you be redeemed? Okay, because he's coming back to redeem the house of Israel. Okay, but now there was the ancient nation of Israel, which was the house of Israel, and all those who are coming into a spiritual nation. It's a spiritual belief. Okay, so and it's a spiritual grafting in. Okay, so this is how we are redeemed. Now, if you're a Christian and don't keep the mitzvot or none of that, then you aren't part of the house of Israel. So you need to start doing the Torah, start doing the Pesach, start keeping the mitzvot. Please start doing these things. so that you can become an acceptable sacrifice to Elohim. Your life can bear witness. You can be a witness to Yahushua HaMashiach, and then He will give you His Ruach HaKadosh. Okay, but you cannot just say, well, I eat pig and pork, and I eat pig, and I go to church on Sunday, and I don't know what the Ten Commandments say, nor do I do them. And I call them the name of God and Jesus, and think you're going to be filled with the Ruach HaKadosh. Do you think you're going to be filled with the Spirit of Elohim? You're not. You're not going to be. You're going to be filled with the Spirit, but it's not going to be from Elohim. It's going to be from whatever deity you're calling on. Okay, so let's get done. Let's go just a little bit more. It says, where are we at? In 16. In verse 15, brothers, as a man I say it, a covenant, even though it is a man's. Oh, okay, let me start. Brothers, as a man I say it, a covenant, even though it is a man's, yet if it is confirmed, no one sets it aside or adds to it. Okay, this is the covenant. Okay, even if a man makes a covenant, nobody sets it aside. Okay, that's what he's saying. If it is a covenant that there has been an agreement made upon, nobody just, you can't just set it aside. If you go over there and you make a covenant to buy a car or a house, they're going to hold you to it. I guarantee you. Those are men's covenant, and I promise you that they're going to hold you to whatever piece of paper you sign. And if you don't make the payments, they're going to come and take their house or their car or whatever it is. They're not playing around, and neither is Yah. Okay? It says that's what it's saying here. It's saying, but the promises were spoken to Abraham and to his seed. He does not say, and to his seeds, plural, as of many, but as of one. The promise is made to Abraham and to his one seed, and to your seed, who is Mashiach. Now this I say, Torah that came 430 years later does not annul the covenant previously confirmed by Elohim and Mashiach. So that it's okay. He's speaking to people who are performing the Torah and who believe that if they do all of these, Torah, that if they do the whole book of the Torah, that they're going to enter into the Shamayim with them. And he's saying the promise was made to Abraham about the Mashiach, about his one seed, 400 years before the promise was made at the base of Mount Sinai. Okay, that's what he's saying. That the promise of the Mashiach is not annulled by the Torah. Okay, you must have belief. Okay, the Torah does not annul the promise of belief. That's what he's saying. He's not saying to do away with the Torah. He's talking to people who are like the Hebrew people, or those who call themselves Hebrew today, that do Judaism, and they're practicing the mitzvot of Elohim, but mostly they practice the mitzvot of men. They really don't practice them. Anyways, I'm not going to sit here and talk about other people. So what I want to say is this, is that the mindset is that he's talking to a people who believe that if they do all the commandments, they're going to make it into the Shamayim. And he's saying, no, you have to have the belief. The Spirit of Elohim comes to the belief, but the belief makes you do the Torah. Okay? You cannot, it says, cursed is the man who does not do all the words that are in this Torah. Cursed is he. Okay? So then we cannot do away with the Torah. It's the book of Galatians. Unless you understand what is going on, you're going to get very lost. Now, let me. It's like this. On one hand, you have the people who believe in the Torah. okay, and they call themselves Jews, Jewish people, okay, but they don't believe in the Mashiach, okay. And on the other hand, you have the Christians who believe in the Mashiach, but don't believe in the Torah. Neither one of them can make it in that state. You have to have what is the word says, that those that those who are his, they guard his commands. They are guarding his commands, and they're believing the Mashiach. Yeah, they believe that the Mashiach has come in the flesh, and they are guarding his commands. That anyone who does not believe that the Mashiach has come in the flesh, this is the spirit of the anti-Mashiach. Okay, so the people that Shaul is speaking to are a people who are doing the Torah because they've been down to Jerusalem for the feast. Okay, and some of them, apparently, what he's saying here, have the Ruach HaKadosh. And now there's other men coming to them saying, hey, you need to be circumcised. Hey, you can't eat with the goyim. Hey, and he's saying, wait a minute. This is not what the belief teaches us. Belief comes through righteousness comes to the belief in Yahushua HaMashiach. But don't think that you're not going to do the Torah. You still have to do the Torah. The righteousness that comes through the spirit of Yahushua, you are become righteous because now you have the spirit and you are performing all the mitzvot, every one of them, of Elohim. You know the right ruling of Elohim. You have the Torah living inside of you. You have Yahushua HaMashiach, and you have Yahuwah, the Father, the Spirit, the Ruach HaKadosh is living inside of you. Okay, so you have the Torah. Okay, so now you're no longer under the Torah, but you are out from under the curse of the Torah, which is the curse of death. Okay, this is what this word is saying. This is in no means saying to do away with the Torah. And he's speaking to a people who don't even think anything like the Christians think. They don't have nothing in common with today's mindset of Christians at all. Okay, these people believe in the Torah. They don't believe in anything else but that. As a matter of fact, a lot of them don't believe in the Mashiach. And but there are those who do believe in the Mashiach and who have received the Ruach HaKadosh. Anyways, we're going to stop right there. I know this is a long video, so we're going to stop right there, and we'll continue the next time in this chapter. Until then, shalom, shalom.